Hi everyone, today we're going to talk about Finest Hour. Finest Hour is a sort of a surprise project that we did not know was coming. It's from Off-Road Games, which features Conlan Rios, who's made several iOS board games in the past. This is an online tank battler. There is no single player component. It is all multiplayer, except for I guess this brief tutorial, though it seems pretty scripted and only has a few moves in it. The tank controls are pretty basic. You can move, you have a certain number of movement points. Different terrain costs you different movement points depending on what it is. You also can use terrain to your advantage. There are forests, objective spots, and hills that can all have effect on how you perform in battle. You can retreat off the field of battle if you feel like you're going to lose, and it's important to note that all tank death is permanent. Therefore, if you lose one of your tanks, you're not going to have it again. So there is the option to retreat rather than lose all your units to your opponent. As you can see, all play takes place online. You'll be playing with other players in a turn-based fashion. Of course, your tanks will fire when they see an enemy, so this is not completely turn-based, as you will have reaction shots if they move into your line of fire. Tank destruction happens when one of the armor sides of a tank is destroyed. In this case, the front armor of the tank is about to be destroyed, and thus the tank will be removed from the field of battle. Let's see it play out. Finest Hour has all the trappings of a free-to-play game, but surprisingly is not free-to-play. It's one download price, but to buy additional tanks you need stars. Well, how do you get stars? Simply through playing the game. There is no way that I know of to purchase additional stars. You can get some free stars by doing some social networking things for the company, which is great for them and I suggest doing them. But otherwise, you get all your stars through playing, which is interesting as it kind of turns the free-to-play model that it's based upon on its head. You can have multiple games running at once, all based upon the number of tanks you have. To play a game, you need to have enough tanks to deploy into the battle, which can range from the full 32 points or less if you'd prefer. There are a number of settings, and everything in the game is very thematic. You also can see news of different actions that you've taken, which are interesting in terms of keeping track of what you've done as a player. Other than this, you can also compete with players online. Online competition is done through Game Center, through a series of leaderboards showing different things that you've done compared with your friends and others that you may see online. So far, I've been really impressed with Finest Hour. There seems to be a lot going on. The number of tile sets is pretty astounding. I think there's 3 or 4 different ones, which seems interesting to me, and each has different maps that can be played upon that have different rules and different choke points that will change the way the game plays out for different players. This is not a complex strategy title in terms of the tanks. This is not 100% historically accurate. Rather, the tanks kind of have a feeling of the tank and have very basic hit points and abilities, which I think is enjoyable from my perspective, but may not have the depth that some other players are hoping for. This is an online-only game, and there are plenty of gamers out there, it appears. I've been able to play several games. One of the things that I would recommend is if you're a new player actually starting with the Access, as there seems to be a lack of Access players available online and more people seeking games as the allies. I think the graphics are great, and they really have a feeling of kind of an old-school tactical game. You also have these great signs that come up that give you tips about different parts of the game that are very simple and straightforward. That's one of the things I also enjoy about the game. It is an original iOS game, and everything is so simple. The tiles make sense for what they do. Hills give you better vision, but don't offer you any protection. Forests offer you some protection and slow you down to move through them. Things like that all seem to make sense thematically and also mechanically in the game. One of my only complaints is that there is no free-to-play option in here. I know that seems crazy, but part of me wishes that I could just buy some stars if I wished. Now, this definitely is against perhaps their principles, which makes sense to me, and I won't hold this against them, but it does seem funny to me that I actually have a desire this time to buy more tanks, but then I do not have the option to do so. Finest Hour meets a lot of great criteria. The gameplay is fun, the price is right, and the graphics are maybe not super advanced, but interesting. There's a lot to do in this game and a lot of fun to be had online. I definitely recommend it for any of those that are fans of tactical battle games. This is definitely one of the best online experiences on iOS at the moment.